Good morning. One morning. No, my phone was updated. Okay, so I'm going to use yours. Good morning, Kahal Kadosh. Gemar Hatima Tova and Shavua Tov. Monday, the 8th day of Tishrei, the 7th of October. Tomorrow night, Be'ezat Hashem, will be Yom Kippur. Haba Aleinu Letova. The Lighthouse Torah Project live video feed dedicated לעילוי נשמת דבורה פייגה בת שמואל, דבורה בת שמואל, אסתר רבקה בת אברהם and לאה בת יוסף, as well as for the רפואה שלמה of מנחם מנדל בן סרבשה and Hannah בת שני. The iTorah.com dedication of today for the שידוכים of נחמה דינה בת חנבתיה, אליהו חיים בן אסתר, שרה שמחה בת סופי, and רחל פנינה בת ג'ני. Would like to wish our audience from the video, from the audio, and the physical audience here present, תזכו לשנים רבות, גמר חתימה טובה to everyone. I will give a nice percentage of Yom Kippur today. So at least we covered most of the halachot which are relevant, and we'll say some for tomorrow. So let me start first with some halachot, and then we'll switch over to the topic of Teshuvah. So bear with me for a moment. I am not going to go each halacha by itself, because that will take a very, very long time. But I like to go through the highlight of the halachot. So we begin with the halachot of kaparot. We know that there are many different traditions how to do kaparot. Some people do kaparot with chicken, some people do kaparot with money, and I believe that some people do kaparot with fish. Don't ask me if the fish needs to be alive or dead, or is gefilte fish, or Moroccan fish, or sardines. I don't know what fish people may use, but definitely the tradition is with money, and the tradition is to do with chicken. The assessed value of money, at least in this part of town, is approximately $18 per person. The halakha discusses the very ancient tradition of doing kaparot. What's the difference between doing kaparot with chicken versus doing kaparot with money? So with money, basically the person takes the money and you hold it in your right hand and you say the prayer that is printed in the mahzorim. You say, Ze halifati, Ze temurati, Ze kaparati, Ze hakesef ilech lizdaka. The purpose of the money of kaparot is to give charity to the needy, and therefore, since kaparot is a obligation that a person must fulfill, the person cannot use money from maaser for the kaparot, because that is a mandatory mitzvah, and therefore all mandatory mitzvot cannot be paid from the money of maaser. Now, with the chicken is a whole different story. Why? Because there is an added benefit when a person does the kaparot with chicken. Number one, the person gets to fulfill a mitzvah ta'aseh mideoraita, a positive commandment of the Torah, known as kisui haddam. Kisui haddam is a mitzvah from the Torah that means that when a person slaughters a chicken or a wild animal, not a cow, cows do not need to have kisui haddam, but chickens, they do need to have kisui haddam. So if we do the mitzvah of the kisui haddam, if we do kaparot with chicken, then you can fulfill the mitzvah of kisui haddam. That's a mitzvah ta'aseh from the Oraita that the Gemara in Hulin and many other sources discusses the reason why. Now, but there is one more added benefit. We know that in Torah there are different types of penalties or consequences that a person must pay. Some of them are financial. For example, financial penalties, homesh, tashlume kefel, arbea b'hamisha. I'm only throwing halachic words in the topic of Talmud of financial penalties. Then you have physical punishment. For example, malkut. the lashes. Many people actually have a tradition that tomorrow, some people do it before the mikveh, some people do it after the mikveh. They give a very symbolic 39 lashes with a belt, and you say, Behu, Rahum, Yechaper, Abon, Belo, Yashhit. All together 3 times. Each verse contains 13 words. That gives you 39 lashes. This is something very simple. It takes a minute. It's only a symbolic. It's not the lashes of the time of the Talmud, of the Bet HaMikdash. They used to tie the person's hands around the column. They used to open up the back, and the Bedin used to make an assessment. Oh, this guy can hold 21 lashes. This one, 23. This one, 27. Obviously, when a person committed certain transgressions, then that punishment, God forbid, was activated. And I'm sorry to talk about punishment, but it's important to understand the next statement. Then there are, God forbid, certain transgressions that a person needs to be executed in order to atone for that transgression. For example, a person publicly, after being told, desecrated the Shabbat. Or a person was involved in a forbidden relationship. If it's with a married lady, or even with a Gentile, Hayam Mitah. And many other, a person kills another person. What do you need to do to that person? Execution. Now, I'm not trying to frighten anyone with this topic, and the Gemara tells us that the Dayanim, the Beddin, in the time of the Sanhedrin, if they will execute one person every 70 years, was considered a violent type of Beddin. So you imagine 70. So you understand that executing someone, it needed to meet so many requirements that really it wasn't a practical thing that happened. But my intention of saying this, it's only to expand on the added benefit of doing kaparot with chicken. So what happens, Halakha says, that if you follow the procedure of the chicken, basically we have the 4 types of execution. Allow me to explain. The Halakha writes, number 1, when a person does the kaparot, he should have in his mind thoughts of teshuvah, thoughts of repentance. And it says, "B'yachshov belibo," and put this thought in your mind, "Shekol ha'na'asa ba'of," that whatever step is about to take place with the chicken, rooster or hen, dugmat arba'a mitot beddin. If God forbid the person, due to their actions, may commit or may have committed a transgression that a person is liable, so this will be the tikkun for the person. And he explains, כי בעת שהשוחט תופס הסימנים בסבר הוא דוגמת חנק. Look at me, please. Let's make believe that this is the neck of the chicken. Okay? So the shohet, what does he do? He grabs from the back. So the simanim, the trachea and the esophagus are right here by the edge of the neck. So when the shohet grabs the neck, and if you come tonight to the kaparot at around 7:30, you'll see me doing it. We'll hold the neck like this for a few seconds, and this is henek, like choking. Then, exactly, the air. And then I'll take the knife. Ukeshoshohato, when you slaughter the neck, so to speak, herek. And then when you drop it into the bucket, what do? We have a cone, okay, with the mouth facing down. After the shahita, what do? We drop the chicken into the cone. So that dropping action, it means sekila. Like if we are stoning the person. And when you burn the feathers on the fire, so to speak, to remove the feathers, this is like burning the person, God forbid, which serefa, burning in the time of the Bet HaMikdash, didn't mean like the Inquisition. It means dropping lead, so to speak, through the neck of the person. Don't worry, those watching I'm not trying to be so gruesome or so graphic, but I'm only explaining what is the fact. ועל ידי שהושב בתשובה, and when a person has this thought in the kapara, הקדוש ברוך הוא מוחל לו, ותהי לו נפשו לשלל. God atones and forgives the person, and the person's got a reset in his neshama. This is something that you can only achieve with the chicken. You cannot achieve this with money. I personally do both. I do with chicken and I do with money. Somebody asked me, why do you do both? Because you have a lot of averot? Maybe because I have a lot of averot. Maybe I need to do double. But I like to do both. I like to do the money to give to the charity, and I like to cook the chicken because I get to fulfill the mitzvah of Kisui Adam and the Arba'a Mitot Bet Din. Obviously, we need to make sure that wherever a person goes to do shechita with chicken, that the knives are kosher, and that's one of the things that I do tonight. Before I do kaparot, I check the knives of the shohatim there to make sure that they are kosher, because if God forbid, if the knife is not kosher, the shechita is not kosher. So if the shechita is not kosher, you know what? Don't do it. That's it. Now, there are, and always, the halacha says that it's encouraging to have two shohatim, tovim hashenayim min ha'echad, better two than one, etc. And it says also that the chicken goes to the aniim, but it's better to give the money to the aniim, because it says there is a certain kind of embarrassment that the ani receives the chicken, and it says that a person should do the best that they can. Also, the halacha writes there is a tradition, not a tradition, a concept of how many chickens do you use for the kaparot. So the halacha writes one for male and one for female. So what about if the wife is pregnant? So you should take 3 chickens in this case. You do one female for her, one boy, male rooster for the unborn child, or a hen for the unborn girl, especially since we don't know the gender. Somebody asked me yesterday, if you know the gender, do you still need to take the extra one? In the time that the halachot were written, knowing the gender, it wasn't a common fact. Better not to know the gender, if you're asking me. What happens if a person has a large family and cannot afford to do one chicken or one, per person, per child? The halacha says in that case, do one for all the males of the family and one for all the females of the family as well. So we hold it and we say, Ze halifati, ze temurati, ze kaparati. Halifati means instead of me. My exchange, my atonement. And that's why you think the word hatach, halifati, temurati, kaparati. I'm not going to explain what hatach means. Those who understand, understand. And some of the time, belly nether, I will explain this, which has to do with the pasuk that we say, Poteya het yadecha umasbiya lechol hay rason. If you look at the pasuk, Poteya het yadecha, the final letters of Poteya is het. The next final letter is taf. The third final letter is chaf, hatach, halifati, temurati, kaparati. What does it mean? That many times the atonement for the person, which is the best gift to the person, is when a person experiences financial losses in their life. Because your body is well, your health is well, and only the finances that can be restored, etc. I don't want to spend too much on the topic of kaparot. I think that I gave it very clearly and very short and very sweet. The next topic that I would like to cover today is eating tomorrow. So the halacha says, mitzvah is a mitzvah tomorrow to eat more than usual, the amount of 2 days. Kabbalistically speaking, 7 meals tomorrow. 7 meals. You don't need to have 7 heavy meals, but it means eat 7 different times of the day, and one of them should have bread. I personally, my menu tomorrow, according to the Kabbalah, we begin eating fish in the morning. Eating fish, because eating fish is a sign of protection, a sign of salvation, a sign of fruitfulness. And then every hour or so, I have a fruit, an egg, 2 slices of cheese. You can have other things, but bread, I personally save it for Sa'udat HaMafseket, the meal that we're going to eat before the beginning of the holiday. Now, the halacha brings a very interesting source from Gemara Berachot and Rosh Hashanah, that according to these 2 Talmudic pieces, it seems to be an equal mitzvah to fast in Kippur and to eat tomorrow extra. And the pasuk says, "Be'initem et nafshotechem betish'a lachodesh ba'erev," and you should fast on the 9th in the evening. And the Gemara asks, "Bechi betish'a mit'anim?" The ta'anit of Kippur doesn't start on the 9th of Tishrei. The ta'anit of Kippur starts on the 10th of Tishrei. Ela lomar lecha. So the Gemara is teaching us, shekol ha'ochel b'shoteh b'teshei, a person who makes the emphasis of eating and drinking on the 9th, which is tomorrow, is compared like a person ate, mehila, is like a person fasted on the 9th and on the 10th. And therefore it says, minimize your learning schedule in order to eat a bit more, and minimize your work schedule in order to eat more. And therefore the halacha says tomorrow you should not go to work. Now the question is, how early you should stop working? If you want to know my opinion, by Hasot, by midday, like around 1:15, 1:30 Miami time. That's it. Come to the synagogue to pray with talet and tefillin. The halacha says that this amount of meals is applicable from tomorrow morning, not tonight. You cannot say, I'm going to have a meal at 7, I'm going to have a snack at 10, so tomorrow we're going to do only the remaining balance. The halacha says no. All this is applicable on the day proper. As I said before, one sa'udah should have bread. And a person tomorrow should not fast. A person is not allowed to fast tomorrow. Maybe somebody wants to fast. Maybe they have somebody's yahrzeit or for a dream. Halacha says don't. Also ladies must eat and drink in honor of Kippur. But it's imperative to say that even though I threw a number, all that is based on Kabbalistic statements, but halachically there is not a clear number. The halachic concept is that tomorrow we should eat more than what we eat every day, because preparation for the mitzvah is also a preparation. What about a person who knows that is not going to fast on Kippur because of medical reasons? It says, nevertheless, the person is starting the ta'anit with everyone and therefore should make an effort to eat more than usual. Also, the halacha says tomorrow we say selihot, and in selihot depends on the time, but once we come to Tefillat Shacharit, we say Yehishem, because Erev Yom Tov, there is the blessing of Erev Kippur, is also the blessing of Yom Tov. Whoever did not say Hatarat Nedarim and Kelalot, nullification of vows and curses, on Saturday night, according to the Syrian tradition, we're going to offer the opportunity tomorrow morning after each minyan to be able to say Hatarat Nedarim and Kelalot. Another thing the halacha discusses is going to the mikveh. Those that are able to go to the mikveh tomorrow, a person should make the effort. If a person cannot go to the mikveh, should pour or stand under the shower for a few minutes, so the amount of 3 gallons or 12 liters of water fall upon the person. Needless to say that rabbis and hazanim and those that are going to be leading the services for Kippur should make the extra effort to go to the mikveh. And obviously we go to the mikveh even though the person may have gone to the mikveh in honor of Rosh Hashanah, but that was 10 days ago. Now we are a week later, and the body may have gone through situations, especially if there was relations between husband and wife, that a person should go to the mikveh, especially those leading the services. And here the halacha says there is a beautiful tradition to do the 39 lashes beresu'a kala. It's a very symbolic matter. Can I sample with you? Please stand up. Okay? I'm going to do a virtual reality check. Let me remove my belt a minute. Relax. Don't be afraid. And this is a symbolic action in order just to remind ourselves. So let's make believe that you are pointing like this. So I start. Behu, Rahum, Yechaper, Avon, Velo, Yashhid, Behirva, Leashiv, Apo, Velo, Yair, Kol, Hamato. 13. That's already round one. I start on the shoulder. I started on the left. I go to the right. Behu, Rahum, Yechaper, Avon, Velo, Yashhid, Behirva, Leashiv, Apo, Velo, Yair, Kol, Hamato. Now I start from the center. Behu, Rahum, Yechaper, Avon, Velo, Yashhid, Vehirva, Leashiv, Apo, Velo, Yair, Kol, Hamato. 39 words, 39 symbolic lashes, which is the maximum that a person was able to receive. And again, the purpose is not, God forbid, to scare people. The idea is that we need to be honest with ourselves. And we need to recognize that you can have a seat. Are you okay? No, are you okay? Do I tell your wife? Do I speak to your wife? Thank you. Now you're atoned. Yes. Okay, have a seat. Chazak. Thank you. Yeah, in the olden days, they used to remove the jacket, the shirt, the tie, the undershirt, and it was raw on the flesh. But I'm not trying to frighten anyone. Don't pay too much attention to that. The idea is that when a person symbolically, this is something that we need to understand, that when a person symbolically does something, don't think for a minute that it doesn't have a value. So when we do the kaparot with the chicken, if God forbid I may have committed a sin that in the time of the Bet HaMikdash may have been punishable by execution, we don't understand. Thank God, because we live in a 21st century. But go back 2,000 years. You know, when the case of the Sotah happened, remember the Sotah incident? It was a public event. Everybody came to watch. So people will not commit, God forbid, that transgression. Now, we cover the Malkut, we cover Mikveh, Kaparot, eating extra tomorrow, Erev Kippur we discuss, Minha. So tomorrow we are going to do Minha. Now, the Minha of tomorrow, at least according to the Syrian tradition, maybe other communities do the same, we put on talet and tefillin for many reasons. Reason number one, to make up another mitzvah, to make up an extra mitzvah. Halachically, for the record, there is not a problem if a person would like to put on a second time talet and tefillin. Not a problem at all. Halachically, you're allowed to do it. You know that there are people who every day of the year, they do minha with tefillin. They wear a special tefillin for minha. It's not our custom, but in Israel, Shimusha Rabbi, it's called, they wear. And talet, every time you put a garment that has 4 corners, you fulfill a mitzvah ta'asemi deoraita. But there are many reasons why this custom was established. One reason is to have an extra mitzvah. Another reason is, many times, people just show up to the synagogue in honor of Kippur. And a person wants to grab one more mitzvah, not to embarrass that person, the whole kahal wears talet and tefillin. But interesting enough, the Lacha says, we say an elongated minha. We do minha of Erev Kippur, which interesting enough, the minha of tomorrow is the same minha that a hatan says prior to getting married. The last minha that a single man makes, it's like the minha tomorrow. The al-het, 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 al-het. Why? Because for the hatan, getting married, it's like Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Now, why did our rabbis establish, listen to this reason, why our rabbis established that the minha of tomorrow it needs to contain the vidui. Al hataim, al het. You know what the lacha says? Hashashu pen ye'era davar kalkala. Maybe, God forbid, when a person is going to sit down to eat, sa'udah mafseket, a person may choke with food, God forbid, and then they will not be able to pray. So let's do the final prayer. Do you understand? Let's do the final prayer just in case you don't come back. Don't go anywhere. Relax. Madhaf. Madhaf. Do you understand what I'm trying to say, Kahal Kadosh? And for those listening and watching, the idea is not to frighten anyone. The idea is to understand that symbolic actions here, it have a great mirror effect in Shamayim. That's what the Ben Ish Hai writes in Perashah Ki Teseh. And therefore, it says the concept of the prayer, and we'll save it like that. Candle lighting in honor of Kippur. There is a tradition, and I believe the entire world does it, but I do know that in the Syrian tradition, this is mandatory, that people come to the synagogues and they light candles in memory of our beloved one. Zevet Kippur, Amal Kilsene, Tiflah Fihon. You know, that's they used to say in the Knis. People come and they light Ner Neshama. They light a candle in memory of the parents or grandparents or relatives. Why? Because there is a special bonding of the neshama in the day of Yom Kippur. What I'm trying to say, we know that the soul of the departed one, it goes through many, let's call them spiritual changes, from death or burial, I should say, till the neshama reaches Gan Eden. There is a whole process, and we don't know exactly the term, or we don't even know, I should say, the length of time. Some neshamot may go to Gan Eden immediately. Some neshamot, before Gan Eden, they go to Gehinnam for a bit, and then they go to Gan Eden. Some neshamot, they spend a few days in Gehinnam, every Shabbat and holiday in Gan Eden, they come back. We don't know how the system works. This is a godly decision on the heavens. So what I'm trying to get, that there are 2 times in the year that the neshamot of the dead can qualify for an upgrade. There are 2 times in the year. The first year of passing of the neshama, every day the soul climbs higher and higher and higher and higher, especially if the sons are saying Kaddish. Every prayer, every Kaddish, every Sha'udah, every Kiddush, every charity, the neshama goes higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. But what happens at the end of the first year? Then the neshama doesn't get these direct deposits of Kaddishin, doesn't get direct deposit. People in the first year of mourning, they want to do more and more and more and more things. But what happened after the first year finishes? People remember to do something during the time of the Yortzeit, during the time of the Ereyat, correct? The week of the anniversary. So the neshama actually looks forward to the anniversary week. Why? Because the neshama says, oh, they're going to feed me again. They're going to say Kaddish, they're going to do Yashkava, they're going to visit me in the cemetery, they're going to do a Sa'udah, they're going to do a Shi'ur. Oh, the neshama feels so happy. The next time around that the neshama qualifies for an upgrade is the day of Yom Kippur. And that's why the prayer says, Sifrei Haim umetim lefanecha hem niftahim. The book of the living and the book of the dead are open in front of the Almighty. I understand the book of the living. Why the book of the dead? because the dead qualify for a spiritual upgrade. And that's why, even in the Ashkenazic tradition, they light a Yortzeit candle. They do the Iskor. But in the Syrian tradition, the Sephardic tradition, we come home, we come to the synagogue, and we light candles, Le'ilui Nishmat. Obviously, we don't say a blessing, but what you say is, I'm lighting the candle. In my case, for example, I'm lighting the candle in memory of my father. And what else we do? We give charity in their memory. Because the neshamot, the souls, even though that they are physically departed from the world, they still need our help. Like they help us. We need to know this. The souls are connected. Even though a parent or a relative may be physically gone from the world, that doesn't mean that they got divorced and they don't talk to each other. Actually, you have a good helper to deliver your requests to the Almighty. But also is a reciprocity type of benefit. Now, when it comes to the concept of candle lighting, according to the rulings of Hacham Obadiah Yosef, ladies do not say Shehiyanu, and when we say Shehiyanu at night in the prayer of Kal Nidre, so we include the entire Kahal Kadosh, and the blessing is Asher Kideshanu Amizvotav Besivanu Leadlik Ner Yom, Leadlik Ner Shel Yom HaKippurim. Also the Lacha talks about lighting candles, etc., and I already mentioned this. The Lacha discusses an interesting concept. Let's talk about the easy one, how a person dresses in honor of Kippur. The Pasuk says, Ligdosh Hashem Mechubad. It's a Pasuk that we say every Shabbat morning in the Kiddush to honor God. The Midrash Rabbi explains that this refers to the day of Kippur. How do I honor God? I honor God through a garment. And this is a very sensitive topic because regretfully, some people don't dress respectfully, don't dress properly. Perhaps in the men's department, this is less of a challenge most of the time. Usually men may dress a bit more conservative, but regretfully on the female department, and I'm not saying a general statement, but regretfully sometimes we see people that I think they got confused if they were going to a nightclub or they were coming to the synagogue. They were going to South Beach or they were coming to pray in Kippur. So allow me to remind the Kahal, there is no mitzvah to dress, God forbid, in a very inappropriate or provocative manner. And I use the word provocative because this is what happens regretfully in some places. And I'm not saying that we are free of this sin. Regretfully, this is something that we see all over, perhaps in some synagogues, that the level of observance and knowledge is a bit higher, it's much less. But bottom line, what I'm trying to say is as follows. I'm going to put this in writing, thank you so much, so it's clear for the audience. How do you say in Hebrew garment? Beged. Beged. Garment. And how do you say in Hebrew the word rebel? To be a rebel. Same letters. Same letters. Through garments, you can rebel against the Almighty. In English, they say, clothing makes the man. There is such a statement in English. Guess what? Like the body, like the neshama has garments, the body also has garments. What are the garments of the neshama? Misvot or averot. Misvot, good deeds, good commandments, whatever that means. Cleanliness, purity, holiness, godliness. Transgressions, what do? scabs to the neshama, so to speak. Guess what? The garments, physical garments, have the same effect and influence in the life of the person. I hope that I'm only talking just because it's part of the halacha of today, and I hope that no one that comes to our shul, or no one who is listening, or no one that is watching does not have this challenge. But since we are humans, and the Yetzer Hara sometimes may play a game with the life of the person, dress in this way so people will look at you more or will look at you less. Honestly speaking, we respect all of that, and we encourage everybody in the time of the Bet HaMikdash, in the day of Yom Kippur. The Gemara tells us that the boys and the girls, they used to go out on different sides, the boys and the girls needing to get married. But what the Gemara writes, they used to do this in the day of Kippur. And you may ask yourself, why on the day of Kippur? Do it the day after. No, because Kippur, everybody is in a holy mode. But what the Gemara says, they used to borrow garments. Remember that Gemara in Ta'anit? They used to borrow garments in order not to embarrass the person that was not able to afford a nice outfit for the holiday. So my message to the holy ladies, married and single, don't think once a lady is married has less challenges. A married lady has equal challenges to a single lady. And I apologize if the lady feels that I'm picking on them, but this is the reality of life, you know. So therefore it says, dress properly, make sure that the garments are suitable and clean for the holiday. You don't have kosher garments, go ahead and spend money. And your husband will bless you. Because the more modesty the wife has, the more blessing comes to their life, to their marriage, and to the children. It's a domino effect. I'm not saying this. The Torah says it. The Torah says, you want to magnetize God's blessings? Is a pasuk, not a midrash. No, I heard. It's a pasuk in the Torah. You want to attract God's blessings? You got to be careful with two things. How you speak and how you dress. That's simple. Belo imase becha ervat davar beshav me'acharecha. May you will not find the nakedness of your mother, and God will take a step back. Ki Hashem Elokecha mitalech bekerev machanecha. Because a Jew must remember that God is with us. This is not a pasuk from the Mishnah, or a pasuk from the Gemara, or from the Zohar. This is a pasuk in the Sefer Torah. The same Torah that tells you don't mix meat and dairy. The same pasuk that tells you don't assimilate to the goyim is the same pasuk that tells you be careful with your speech and be careful with your dress code. And Be'ezat Hashem, everybody will honor Hashem, and in this zechut, great blessing comes to the person. One more halacha, that even though, for sure, no one, unless medically required, unless a lady that just gave birth, no one will sit down during Kippur on the Shabbat table. Nevertheless, the halacha says, put a piece of tablecloth on the table, like on Shabbat, because it's a Yom Tov, and put a few books of Torah on the table. Don't put chali, don't put chale cover, don't put challah tray, don't put nothing related to food. Put the tablecloth and put a few books of Torah. Put a Chumash, put a Tehillim, put a Sidur, and then you bring godliness into your home. That's the reason why we learned this a few weeks ago, that when we finish the meal Friday night, we clean up the table. But what do? We leave the tablecloth on, and we leave halot on the table. Why? Because there is a constant influx of beracha, but the beracha must dwell on something. But if the table of Kippur looks like a regular Tuesday night, no tablecloth, no Torah books, so then the beracha says, okay, I'm going somewhere else. So therefore, it's a beautiful halacha that the halacha brings down, and mapa yafa kemo b'Shabbat, etc. Now, there is one more halacha known as Tosefet Yom HaKippurim. Tosefet Yom HaKippurim literally means the obligation of welcoming the Ta'anit before Kippur starts. What does it mean? According to the halacha, we should take Kippur 10 minutes before sunset. What does it mean? In Miami tomorrow, candle lighting will be 6:41. Sunset is 6:59. So by 6:50, I take upon myself Kippur. I want to advance Kippur for a few minutes to fulfill the halacha that we mentioned, that I'm fasting on the 9th, and 10 minutes is sufficient. Although there are other opinions that say 20 or 40 minutes, we follow the more lenient opinion, 10 minutes. But it's also very, very important that we come to the knis tomorrow, early in the afternoon, after we finish eating at home, in order to put on the talet before sunset. Because once the sun set, it's an issue if you can say a beracha on the talet. So therefore, we're going to come to the synagogue before sunset, we're going to put on the talet, and we're going to be able to say the beracha and to welcome the ta'anit. An additional concept that is brought down in all mahzorim, the concept of blessing the children in honor of Yom Kippur. There is a beautiful prayer found in the mahzor for those who receive our daily or weekly email. This will be sent later on today, Be'ezat Hashem. Check your email, check your WhatsApp chat group if you are in any of my groups, and you will be getting this special prayer to be recited tomorrow. Even though your children may not be next to you, you still definitely can say the blessing in honor of your children or your grandchildren, etc. Now, there is plenty of halachot that I need to cover, but I'll stop the halachot department at this moment. Let me just scan quickly. Okay, I'll save for tomorrow the second part of the halachot, which are more halachot in honor of Yom Kippur. And now I'd like to switch the topic a bit. 1 second. Baruch אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. Sorry. For those watching, stay watching. For those listening, I will pause the recording so I can open up a second recording for today. I'm going to pause it, keep watching, save, we'll do the technicality later, and then list, and then I'm starting the second recording. Part 2 of Yom Kippur, Monday, the day before Yom Kippur. Shavua Tov, everyone watching, and have a easy and meaningful fast. I will switch the topic, not from halachot now, but a message for Kippur. And I'll do this now because tomorrow, with so many things going on, we're not sure if we're going to have so much time like we have today. I'd like to say the following. If someone from the physical audience needs to leave, please feel free to do so. I'm going into overtime now, but if you like to stay, faddal. I got a nice audience watching and listening anyways. I'd like to share with the Kahal Kadosh some of the things that we mentioned in the derasha of Shabbat Tshuva. And I was asked to say it in English and in Spanish, but I'll save the Spanish version for later. I'll do my private recording and then I'll send it to everybody. But I'll do the English version now. You may have heard this from many rabbis. So far, most of the rabbis that I heard from were Hasidic and Ashkenazic. So I will do the Sephardic version, so everybody is able to understand the whole idea of Teshuvah. So I like to quote a very short but powerful Devar Torah attributed to the great Rabbeinu Zusha, the brother of Rabbeinu Elimelech HaAchim HaKedoshim, in which he explains what is the meaning of the word Teshuvah. I will put this in writing in part, so this way, as I talk, you are able to watch in the video. Be'ezat Hashem. Just 1 second. I'm writing only the short version. I will explain each one accordingly. Don't despair. I'm just almost done. Okay. Here we have, for those watching, the word Teshuvah. What's the idea? What's the meaning of Teshuvah? You see, Teshuvah, and I wrote 5 verses, which we'll read together in a few moments. Teshuvah literally means to return. Tashuv habayta. Come back home. Teshuvah means to return. Bear with me a second. Very important note I must share with the Kahal. Teshuvah means to return. We also explain Teshuvah has a repentance. I repent for the mistakes that I made. That's it. And that's part of tomorrow's class. How do I apologize to people? How do I ask for forgiveness from my wife, from my parents, from my friends, from my teachers? All that's coming tomorrow. But you know what Teshuvah means in a nutshell? Taking responsibility of our actions. Not blaming anyone. The problem with us, regretfully, is that many times, the way we fix a situation is by putting a band-aid instead of stitching the wound. We put a band-aid, we blame someone, or a situation, or a person, and our brain makes us believe that we took care of the problem, but the reality is that we dealt with the symptom and not the source. Like medicines. I'm sorry for those in the pharmaceutical industry. All right? Okay? What a medicine does. There are 2 types of medicines, or there are 2 types of schools of medicines. Dealing with the symptoms or finding the root of the problem. Do you know this? You have a headache, you take an Advil. You have a headache, you take a Tylenol. You have this condition, take this. But why is that happening? Okay? I'm not talking about pharmacy today. We'll save that for some other time. So today's message number 1 of Teshuvah means stop blaming. Stop blaming. I'll tell you one thing. If we start taking responsibility in our life and we stop blaming people, come back to me in 6 months. And you're going to tell me, Rabbi, you saved my life. Not physically, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. Because once the person says, me, myself, and I is the reason of this headache, so then the person will be more responsible and more cautious in matter. And that's why, now I'm going to go to my chart. Please, those watching, look at the chart. There is a verse in the Torah that says, if you don't mind picking it up, thank you. Pasuk in the Perashah, first one, Tamim tihiyeh im Hashem Elokecha. Tamim tihiyeh. Tamim, in English, has a lot of meanings. Tamim means wholesome. Tamim means complete. Tamim means simple. Yaakov Avinu was called Ish Tam. Rabbeinu Tam. Those are Tzaddikim. In the Haggadah of Pesach, what do we have? Tam. Simple. But in this pasuk, you know what this pasuk means? Tamim tiyeh im Hashem Elokecha. Be sincere with God. When it comes to teshuvah, don't say, God, I'm better than many people. God forbid if a person makes that kind of comparison by saying, I don't have to do teshuvah. I'm better than most of the people I know. I'm super nice guy. Nice guy is my middle name. Guess what? God doesn't measure the person according to others. God measures the person according to themselves. Who are you? Where are you coming from? What's your knowledge? What's your education? And guess what? What's your potential? For somebody, as I said the other day, coming to shul at 10 o'clock in the morning in Rosh Hashanah is considered a great mitzvah. And for someone coming at 8 o'clock, what's the big deal? Why? We don't know what happened the night before. We don't know how this person slept. We don't know how much effort the person needed to invest to come. So number one letter of Teshuvah means Tamim tihiyeh im Hashem Elokecha. Be sincere with the Almighty. Next pasuk, chapter of Tehillim. The next letter of the word Teshuvah is what? Shin. Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. I place God constantly in front of me. Let me ask you a question now. How do we drive in the highway if we see a police car behind us? Slow down, like the song says. Slow down. Step on the brakes. Drop the cell phone. Put on the seat belt. Hold both hands. Don't exceed the limit. Or let's go back 20, 30 years when children used to honor their parents. Sad what's happening today. I remember as a child that if my father needed to speak to any of us, he would just look at us. Right? Remember those days? I wish they come back. What you looking at today? That's today's shtick. Our parents will look at us and we understood, Yosef, come down, sit down, do your homework, listen to your mother. Or like the mothers used to say, wait till your father comes. We heard the word father, like Kippur. Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. Place God constantly in front of us. Let me ask you a question. You are in a public setting. You are in a bar mitzvah. You are in the restaurant. You are in a wedding. Are you going to scream at your wife? Huh? Most of us will never dare to do that. Why not? You are too nice. I'll tell you the reason why. Because people are watching. People are watching. And when we know that someone is watching us, how is our behavior? More refined, more respectful, more elegant, with etiquette. But what happens at home? The mask comes off. And then we start acting. So which one was the acting? The street or the house? The street. The street was the acting. I need to put up a show. But at home, I remove the mask and I show my true colors. And that's why the next letter of Teshuvah means Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid ki mimini bal emot. I place God constantly in front of me, because from my right side, God does not depart. If every minute or every 15 minutes, I'll give you a discount, a person thinks God is in front of me, God is in front of me, God is in front of me, guess what? My sins will be much less. Meaning to say, my Yirat Shamayim will increase. Comes the third letter, Tav Shin. The next letter, letter Vav. Ve'ahavta le'reacha kamocha. Love. The Vav is ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta. The tune of ve'ahavta that I just gave you is not love to humans. It's love to God. But interesting enough, that the Torah uses the same word for both types of love. Can you love a human like you love God? Can you love God like you love a human? According to the Torah, it must be Ve'ahavta le'reacha kamocha. Love your fellow man like you love yourself. Rabbi Akiva said, this is a great foundation of the Torah. What is the meaning of this sentence? Why? If Teshuvah means so far, step number 1, sincerity in my return. Number 2, having God always with me. Why do I bring a person in the middle of the pathway of Teshuvah? Mankind is one, ungodly is other. You know what this word is telling us? That part of Teshuvah is not only our godly behavior, but it's our human behavior. How do we act towards people? How we interact with people, starting with the wife, and the parents, and the children, and siblings, and friends, and relatives. So Teshuvah is also Ben Adam LaHavero, is between humans as well, interpersonal. The next letter, the bet. So we discuss the bet. Bechol derachecha da'ehu. Pasuk from Mishle. That means, in all the ways I get to know God. There is no situation in a person's life that there is no a manifestation of godliness. Tell me a situation, I'll bring you God into the movie. Tell me. I'm buying a suit. Simple. I'm buying a suit. Shadness. This is God in my suit. Shadness testing. You know the label. You should know it by heart. I said this a few times. Non-shadness. Guess what? I went to Macy's to find for God. I went to European Fashion Warehouse. Right here. And I found God in the store by testing for shatnez. I bought an apartment. Say amen. I didn't buy any apartment. Relax. Okay? But soon, Be'ezat Hashem. Be'ezat Hashem. Oh, Boaz says the right thing. True. Why should I invest in America? Invest in Israel is the best. I buy an apartment. What is the first thing that I do? Find the closest synagogue. Obviously, mezuzah. Obviously, ma'akeh. Obviously, low enough that I'm able to go up and down, unless it has Shabbat elevator and you use it. This is how you think. I'm buying an apartment and I'm checking with God. God, should I buy the apartment or not? It's a good deal. It happened to me yesterday. Somebody wanted to buy an apartment on the 24th floor. I canceled the sale. I said, don't buy it. Unless you buy it in a building that has Shabbat elevator. No, but it's a good deal. And what about your neshama? What about your neshama? I found a great house in Hialeah. Yeah, go to Opaloka, you'll find a nice house. Are you going to walk 5 miles to come to shul every Shabbat? You understand? This is the meaning of this verse. V'chol derachecha da'ehu. In every way. I'll take a shower. I take a shower the Jewish way. I get dressed the Jewish way. Intimacy, the Jewish way. Buying garments, the Jewish way. And I'm not going to expand on each and every one of them. But in each and every one of these examples, there is a godly manifestation. You go to the bathroom, God is with you in the bathroom. You may say, how come? It's very simple. If God is not with the person in the bathroom, the person will not be able to survive. And that's why our holy rabbis establish a blessing when I come out of the bathroom. After I wash my hands, I say the blessing of the human body, giving gratitude to Hashem. The world, and I even talk about even the world of food, or the world of business, of the world of employees, the world of loans, the laws of investment, the laws of borrowing. And again, I'm only throwing Haim Tovim. I'm only throwing words just to understand that it's impossible for a Jew to divorce from God if we do the right thing. Guess what? The more awareness a person has of godliness, the more misvot we do, and the less averot we do. And that's the meaning of Irat Shamayim. When we say a person should be a God-fearing person, what does it mean, God-fearing? It has nothing to do with fear. It means awareness. Awareness that Hashem is with me. So we cover 4. Sincerity, placing God constantly, loving a fellow man. In all your pathways, a person gets to see the Almighty. And comes the 5th one. Hasnea lechet, I wrote it here. Hasnea lechet im Elokecha, a pasuk from the Navi that says, walk discreetly with the Almighty. From here we learn a few lessons. Number 1, humility. That a person understands and recognizes that God is the source of all matters in a person's life. And even when it appears to be perhaps a bit challenging or a bit difficult, even a headache, it comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. An additional lesson that we learn is the topic of modesty, and that means that a person counts their blessings. A person not looking at others, but actually content with what they have. And another concept, the topic of seni'ut, that I mentioned a few moments ago, seni'ut in how a person speaks, which is actually a pasuk that we read in today's parasha. Baishman Yeshurum Baivat Shamanta Abita Kasita. You know what this means? The Pasuk says, a person may reach a situation in life that they will become inflated. Inflated means their ego, very arrogant. Baivat is going to start kicking. Shamanta, Abita, Kasita, Baitosh Eloah Asahu. Once the person reaches a certain success in life, they said, I don't need God. I'm a self-made person. God forbid that a person ever says this. The opposite. The more successful you are, the more humble you need to be. And I tell you this now from personal experience. I'm on the spotlight constantly. That's not good neither, because it attracts a lot of ayn hara on the person. But somebody got to do the job. Okay? And often I said to myself, only God is helping you. Only God is helping you. God is helping you. You are nothing. We are nothing. Me'ayin bata, mitipase ruha. What is the person? A person is full of That in Musar language is called ga'ava, haughtiness, arrogance, a big shot. This pasuk tells us the opposite. The more humble we are in life, and the more thankful we are in life, the more and more berachot come in the life of the person. These 5 steps that I mentioned make up the message of the word teshuvah. I have more what to say. And I repeat what I said before. If you need to leave, feel free to do so. I will tell you to the audio and visual audience that no one from the room walked out when I make that announcement 23 minutes and 19 seconds ago. So I will have mercy upon everyone, and I will finish before the clock hits 30 minutes. I'd like to speak about one of the most important people in human history, Adam Harishon, the first person created by the Almighty. Remember when they ate from the tree, what happened? God came to Adam. What did Adam say? The wife that you gave me convinced me. Yani, strike number 1, he blamed her. Remember what did we explain the meaning of teshuvah means? Not blaming, taking responsibility. I'll tell you the following, and Adam Harishon will agree. If Adam Harishon would have said, God, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, history would have been different. But obviously, it's very easy to say it from sunny Florida 5,780 years ago. We need to be careful when we speak about Adam and Hava. We're not talking about Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Ben and Jerry. No, we're talking about Adam and Hava. Adam and Eve. Not Adam and Steve. Adam and Eve. Adam and Hava. Important to clarify this today. I needed to throw in that joke because the class is a bit serious. But it's important to be serious occasionally, right? Thank you. Now, let's continue. God goes to Hava. Hava, did you eat? Yeah, the snake. So what did they do? Strike number 1. They blame everyone. Fast forward. History Channel. Comes, who can we speak about today? Shaul HaMelech. King Shaul. King Shaul was a holy man with a capital H. He was so holy and he was very humble. But regretfully, when he came to the incident with Agag, the king of Amalek, what happened with him? He lost the kingdom. Why did he lose the kingdom? Because he failed to finish the mission against Amalek. And when Shemuel the prophet approaches him and he says, what did you do? What does he say? No, I heard to the suggestions, we check it out, not to worry, these are real animals. Amalek people had the power of reversing humans to animals, animals to humans, etc. He blamed someone else. He did not assume responsibility. Fast forward, Natan HaNavi, when he puts David HaMelech on the spot, with the incident of David and Bathsheba, what is the reaction of David when Natan puts him on the spot? Hatati, I have sinned. I'm guilty as charged. This was King David. Let's go back a minute to the life. Wow. Miracle. That's what I'm looking for. Can you read what it says here? Beautiful. Chapter 92 of the book of Tehillim. For those watching, this was not set up in advance. That's exactly how I'm going to finish the class today. Chapter 92 of the book of Tehillim, written by the one and only Adam Harishon. The chapter 92 says, Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, a song for Shabbat, Saturday. Tov lehodot laHashem, ulzamer leshimcha elyon. It is good to express our gratitude to the Almighty and to praise His holy and lofty name. To tell during the daytime God's kindness upon us, and my faith will shine through the night. My dear Kahal, most people believe, you can erase this, thank you so much. Most people believe that this chapter of Tehillim was composed in honor of Shabbat, which Shabbat means Saturday. I'll tell you a secret. This song was composed in honor of the gift of Teshuvah. What does it mean? We know vividly that Cain kills Hevel. One day, Adam Arishon sees Cain that is walking around the earth, very happy, very relaxed, very chill out, as they say in our generation today. And Adam Arishon says, how can you be so calm? How can you be so relaxed? I ate from the tree and I'm self-imposed exile for 130 years. Can you imagine Adam in one corner, Havah in another corner? For 130 years they have no contact. They impose upon themselves separation and exile. Comes Cain and it says to Adam, for what? You never heard of Teshuvah? You never heard of apologizing, regretting, and moving back on? Adam Arishon says, no, what is that? Cain was the first Baal Teshuvah of the world. The first. Adam Arishon was the second with Havah. And that's why Adam says, Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, a song for Shabbat. Look at the word Shabbat and Teshuvah. Shin, Bet, Taf. The root word of Teshuvah is Shabbat. So this song is Tov lehodot laHashem. You know, rule number one of Teshuvah, lehodot, recognize. Recognition. Like marriage. I don't know, somehow marriage always come back to the front burner. What is the easiest way to solve marital disputes between husband and wife? Apologize. Move on. Ignore. That's what Adam Arishon is saying. Tov lehodot la Hashem. You know what is good. Listen to the words. Tov, it is good. Lehodot. Although lehodot usually means to recognize, but this recognition is about recognizing my mistake. I'm taking responsibility. I'm not blaming. Blaming game, it was a recipe for disaster. And that's the reason why every Shabbat we say Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat. Because every Shabbat carries the power of Teshuvah, and Kippur is Shabbat, Shabbaton. Yani double force of Teshuvah. I can continue, but I'll have mercy on my throat and mercy on everyone watching and listening. We say to everybody, Gemar Hatima Tova. This will continue tomorrow, Beli Neder, with the second part of preparation and halachot of Yom Kippur. But I must say the following, don't stop. When I say stop, we stop. Let's continue. Sorry. Can you bring back the recording, please? I want to make sure that we are recording. Thank you. This is a new recording? Okay, so we need to... Okay, you're going to do everything together? Okay, so for those who get the daily audio file, we're going to put together all the files. Now, number 2 and 3 will be together. Number 1 will be separate. We'll label different, etc. But I'll tell you one thing. We have 36 hours till Yom Kippur. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not a lot, especially since we all have our busy day and schedule. But let's be honest. Let's get ready to the best of our abilities. If it's buying a suitable garment for the holiday, that's the way it should be. If it's planning to welcome the holiday on a timely manner, that is. If it means to apologize to people, some people regretfully may have a difficulty in apologizing. To some people, apologizing is very easy, but for some people, apologizing, it's more difficult than winning the lottery. Hamavdil. But this is some of the steps that we must. And guess what? I'll finish with the following pasuk. The pasuk says, Yodea Sadiq Nefesh Behemto. Yodea Sadiq Nefesh Behemto. The righteous knows their animalistic soul. What does it mean? It means a person needs to be honest with themselves. Whatever area in life we are able to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we are different, that we are the upgraded version of our neshama and the upgraded version of the potential that we have and we are able to become. And in this zechut be'ezat Hashem, may HaKadosh Baruch Hu seal everyone lechaim tovim ulshalom, for a good life, for a happy year, and be'ezat Hashem we should have the zechut of the Yeshua b'mira v'yamenu. Amen. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Hananiah ben Akashia Omer, Ratza HaKadosh Baruch Hu lezakot et Israel lefichach הרבה להם תורה ומזוות שנאמר, אדוני חפש למען צדקו, יגדיל תורה וידיר. קדיש. אמן. 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 ישם רבה מברך. تبرم بعلمه. امين امين امين. بريبا بيت سلام. امين امين.